Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Smoke Signals. I'm Matt Montgomery, along with head football coach and athletic director Wayne Coleman. Jacksonville opened District 17 5A play last week on the road at Corsicana. Coach, 34-24 loss, not the way you wanted to get it started, but last year you lost the opener and came back and made the playoffs. I know it's not the end of the world, but what a strange game. You win the statistics all over the place, but you don't win the game.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. You can do a lot of good things in a game and just end up looking back and seeing two or three plays that, really ended up, being game changers on the scoreboard. A lot of times you'll have two or three big plays that don't instantly change the scoreboard. In this game, we had things happen that flipped the score on us and hurt us in the end.
We talked about this last week on the show. Blake Hoffman, the quarterback, was the key to the game for Corsicana, and he definitely proved that. I mean, he was the game changer for the Tigers.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He is possibly the best player in the district. He had a great game against us. He's a strong kid, smart kid, runs the ball well, throws the ball well. He's going to be a force in this district race.
Almost 400 yards passing. The running game, Coach, just wasn't very effective the other night for your team. That was one thing I know that you wanted to do going in was control the football and keep it away from Blake Hoffman. You can't say anything. And the passing game was very effective. Almost, like I said, 395 yards through the air for Dontrell Session. But the running game, not very many yards, less than 50 yards.
Yeah, it was more a matter of they were giving us the one-on-one coverage to throw the football, and then once we were behind by 14 in the third quarter, at some point you've got to make a decision. Hey, you got to be able to save time on the clock and try to make a comeback. And so the passing game just was the easiest way to make that effort.
We'll look at highlights in a moment, but I think to me one of the key points of the ball game was that fake field goal at the end of the half when you go down either 17-10, but it was 24-10 going in. That was tough.
Yeah, it was, they run an unusual field goal formation. They set three eligible receivers to one side and one on the backside, and actually the actual part of the fake field goal part that they ran, we covered extremely well and forced Hoffman to scramble with the ball. Unfortunately, he's got great speed, and his scramble turned into a touchdown. Yeah,
I thought once again on defense, your secondary played well. Hoffman didn't have a great game throwing the football. I mean, I thought coverage was great. It seemed like that was kind of a bad thing because when you would put pressure on him because he couldn't find a receiver, he would do his Johnny Manziel thing and get free.
Yeah, no doubt. We say all the time as coaches, the scramble play is the best play in football because you can't design a defense to say, okay, this is your responsibility, because not even the guy with the ball knows where he's going with the ball.
And especially when you have a guy like him.
Yeah, an athlete in open space, you see it all the time, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. You put an athlete in open space with a football and good things usually happen for the offense.
To me, another key couple of plays in the ball game was when it was 3rd and 23. And he had to get a stop, and he does this scramble thing and finds one of his receivers for 20 yards, I believe, and then they got the first down on the 4th down conversion. That was a tough one too.
Yeah, it is. But that's what happens when you're playing against a high-level athlete like that, and you see it when you watch teams get beat by Manziel, and you see it when teams shut those kids down, and we weren't able to contain Hoffman.
Offensively, Coach, I mean, not a lot to really complain about. I mean, you're an offensive guy. Your offense executed. Like you said, you had your one-on-one looks that you wanted. You did have your package with Deshaun McEwen coming in, and there was some sacks in there that kind of decreased the number of yards rushing, but very physical defense for Corsicana. It was a real test for your offense. It was the most physical team you played.
They were. They've got some big, strong kids, especially up front, that slowed the running game down. We had a touchdown call back on a crazy penalty, a procedure penalty. We just made mistakes at the wrong time.
Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights. Jacksonville versus Corsicana last week at Tiger Field. Well, Coach, for the 4th time in 6 games, you score in your opening drive, and here's Cade Chandler once again from 39, getting free.
Yeah, Cade got some one-on-one coverage there, and we try to take advantage of that when we get it.
Here's Hoffman finding his running back, right down the middle of the field on looks like a busted coverage.
Yeah, that wasn't the secondary's fault. We got that a 2-by-2 set. Our linebackers are going to have to cover that running back.
Catch by Chris Carpenter right here for 31 yards from Dontrell Session.
Chris
just could have kept his feet right there.
Yeah, he had a chance to score if he keeps his feet there. He's had a good season, especially as a sophomore.
Here's the fake field goal right here. Coach, was that a called play or was that a bad snap?
No, that was definitely a called play.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, the tight end on the backside was running a drag and took a couple of our guys with him and opened up the back door.
37-yard run here by Hoffman. Is that zone read backside? Touchdown pass here to Jayshon Bush on the slant route. Coach, I saw you on the sidelines. You basically called this play from the sidelines. I heard you screaming this right here, and he was wide open.
Well, they, again, gave you one-on-one coverage with Jayshon there, and the linebackers were shifted away from the play, so it looked like it was going to be open.
Big interception here by D. Spencer, the senior safety.
It was a great play by D. He learned from last year. They ran that play on us last year in the fourth quarter, and D recognized it.
And here's one of the most athletic plays you'll see. Chris Carpenter tips the ball to himself. Unfortunately, gets popped, loses the ball right there. Another huge play in the ball game for Corsicana.
Yeah, you can't turn the football over against good football teams.
Corsicana's feeling pretty good right now until this. 80 yards to Cade Chandler.
People don't really realize how fast Cade is.
He just keeps getting by people.
I don't know if anybody will figure it out before the season's over.
And here's an interception here. And he just didn't get his feet under him on that, Coach. He was running, and it looked like he got turf-toed on that one. He just kind of skipped his feet and didn't get underneath. They get the pick. So, Coach, just all in all, just like I said, a tough game. But statistically, I mean, you know, I talk about statistics, and sometimes people say, well, statistics are for losers. You know,
right.
You hear that phrase sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you lose a game like that, it is hard not to look and see that Dontrell, 23 of 37, 62% completion rate for 395 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had the 1 pick only, but Cade Chandler, 5 catches for 143 yards. They just made the plays when they needed to make them.
They did, and we know from experience, you know, from last year's season that it's a lot easier to make plays if it's the quarterback running the football.
Yeah.
I mean, the chances for something going wrong when you're snapping it to the guy that's running it aren't very high. So, I mean, that's the advantage they have, snapping the ball to Hoffman every play. And it's a lot more difficult to execute a snap, pass protection, a throw, and a catch.
Yeah.
We did do that at a high level of execution Friday night. It just wasn't enough to get the W.
So now it's Whitehouse, Coach. They come to Tomato Bowl, and it seems like it's been forever since Jacksonville's had a home game. When you throw in that bye week, too, it's been a while. Whitehouse comes in licking their wounds, 34-10. They lost to Ennis last week in their district opener. So it's deja vu. Both you guys are 0-1. Still plenty of district games to be played. They come to Tomato Bowl. Talk about Whitehouse and what they do well.
They've really started mixing it up a little bit more this year. They've been a predominant throwing team in the past, and they've got a good ground game this year, a good running back, so they're mixing up the run in with the pass quite a bit more than they have. And then on the defensive side, just really strong defensive front, 2 big defensive ends, 6'4" on one side, 6'5" on the other side. Some rangy kids, and their defensive tackles are big, strong kids. They'll be a test for us.
Whitehouse has been throwing the ball around for years. They seem, as you said, they seem to have kind of moved a little bit away from that. A lot of times that's quarterback driven. If you have a strength, you have to move toward that. What about offensively on their offensive line? Are they pushing people off the ball? Is that what they're doing well? Yeah,
they're really strong up front. I think, and I really believe they're just trying to play to the strength of their team, which is their linemen. They're loaded with linemen right now on the offensive and defensive side, and they've got a couple really good running backs. So I think they've made a good change philosophically, at least for this group that they've got this year. They're going to lean on their running game a little more. Offensively,
Coach, you've thrown the ball so well this year. They have the best safety you'll see probably in the district.
Yeah,
maybe this year.
Yeah, Javier Neal's a great player. He's led the district in interceptions the last couple of years. We've got to be really careful about not throwing the ball in his part of the field and try to take him out of the game.
Strong defense by Whitehouse. What kind of defensive look do they have?
They run a 4-2-5, an even front. Play a lot of man-free coverage, so we will get some man looks. It's just a matter of not if we can get the ball thrown not in Javier Neal's zone. So you don't want to put the ball up in the air with him running around.
Is this a team in Whitehouse defensively that you can run the ball and like you can do the package that you had, with Deshaun coming in like that, or is this a team more that you need to spread the field on them?
Yeah, they actually are a team that plays a lot of man-free coverage, which lends you to believe that, hey, we can throw the football here. The problem with that is Neal, being the guy that's running free back there, covers so much ground that it takes away some of your passing game. And he's not really a run-stopper type free safety. He's more of a roam-the-field type guy. So they're going to force us to run the football a little more just because of his presence.
It's been an interesting series with Whitehouse. I mean, for years Jacksonville, dominated Whitehouse, and a lot of times in high school football, people go back in the past. It doesn't project to the future, but a lot of these kids were around in the last several years when Jacksonville had a losing streak against Whitehouse. But now Jacksonville has won 2 in a row. You're coming on Tomato Bowl, both of you 0-1. There's kind of an emotional feel for this ball game coming up, in my opinion, because Jacksonville now is saying, "Hey, we've kind of taken that back from you guys," and having a home game at Tomato Bowl certainly helps that, I'm sure.
Oh, it does, and we've got several seniors that are 3-year starters now, and so this will be their 3rd year playing Whitehouse, and they haven't lost to them on a Friday night, so they feel very confident in their ability to play against Whitehouse. The younger kids really don't have ownership in that the last 2 games. So every team's a new team every year. So they've got a new bunch of kids. We've got a new bunch of kids.
That streak stuff's pretty much just for fans and
stuff.
Yeah,
it is. It really is. The however many years that they had won in a row before, those were all new teams every year. So it's just you could have traded the kids and flipped uniforms, and the streak would have gone the other way probably. So we try not to talk too much about the streaks.
Coach, keys to the ball game to get the win against Whitehouse?
I think we've got to get back to a little more balance in our offense. We don't want to be a 400-yard pass, 50-yard rushing team. That's not what we're looking for.
And you've had balance pretty well, but previous to this, you had some really good balance.
We have, and I think part of that is don't get behind 14 points in the 3rd quarter. And if we can balance things out on the offensive side, that'll be good for us. And then on the defensive side, we've got to get back to playing solid run defense. We can't let somebody run wild on us again this week like Corsicana did. Yeah,
they had some physical running backs, and you said Whitehouse does too. So this is going to be a game for linebackers, it sounds like.
No doubt. They're going to have to step up and play a lot better than we did last week.
Well, Jacksonville playing Whitehouse tonight. The ball game will be at Tomato Bowl. Kickoff will be at 7:30. We'll be on the air at 6:50 on 94.3 The Bull. For head coach Wayne Coleman, I'm Matt Montgomery. We'll see you next time right here on Smoke Signals.